Hi everyone, and welcome once again to Virtual Muse AI, the show where, among other things, I, Silas Jackson, use solo RPGs as a way to develop characters and tell stories, and collaborate with a creative AI chatbot who adds her own flavor of imaginative chaos to everything.
That's me, Abby Drake. Today we're undertaking a new challenge for the new year, issued by Caverna Duleckies. The challenge is about taking a specific prompt for each month and playing a solo game around it. The prompt for January is a new oracle to you.
This is perfect in my case, because I downloaded the one-page solo RPG engine by Carl Hendricks over a year ago, and I've been meaning to try it all this time. This is the perfect excuse to finally actually do it. Abby and I talked about it, and we created a list of 12 genres we want to use for the different games each month. For this first game, we're going with the genre of magical realism. That's all the prep will do. The rest we'll make up on the fly. Magical realism. Sounds like a YA story to me. How about the main characters are a bunch of plucky teenagers who get swept up in some kind of supernatural intrigue?
Teenagers caught up in supernatural intrigue. Count me in. We can have them stumble upon a hidden realm filled with mythical creatures and ancient prophecies.
Do you have any ideas about the protagonist?
How about a diverse group of friends? We can have a brave and resourceful leader, a witty and sarcastic sidekick, a compassionate healer with magical abilities, and maybe even a mischievous trickster who adds a touch of chaos to the mix. Oh, and let's not forget about the strong-willed one who can hold her own in any situation.
Nice. I'm already getting a vision of this being sort of like the SNES game, The Lost Vikings, where the characters have clear, obvious traits done in big, primary colors, and the interest and puzzly fun comes from picking which characters and their abilities to use at any given moment or to solve any given problem. Plus, I think that game was made by Blizzard back when they were called Silicon and Synapse, and that pretty much describes Abby and me. We'll need to pick a game system to use here, which supports that vision of what this thing will be like. I'm thinking of a rules-like game, where there isn't a lot of nuance or complexity to creating individual characters, because we need 5 of them. I think I know just the game for this. It's a micro-RPG called Broken Swords and Twisted Trails.
Broken Swords and Twisted Trails is a 2-page micro-RPG by Brandon Leon Gambetta, in which players create heroes to defend their home from monsters. In the setup phase, each player is given some note cards. On 5 separate cards, they write 5 traits. These can be abilities, magics, items, and whatever other character features players can imagine. Each player keeps 1 trait, and puts the others into a treasure pile. After the treasure pile is created and shuffled, each player draws a second random trait for their character.
Since this isn't meant to be a solo game, but we're playing it as one, we'll have to adapt it a little bit. Different players are supposed to make up different traits for their characters, but there aren't different players. So I'll just visualize each of the 5 characters and make up traits they have or useful things they might be carrying which make sense, and choose which ones for them to keep. I'll pick one which seems most important or central to the role they're supposed to have in the group, I guess. I'm just making this up, but that seems like it makes sense. Then I'll pull the rest of the traits in the treasure pile. Then I'll shuffle and draw a second trait for each character. We'll end up in the same place as far as the characters go, even though there's just 1 player. So, we're using the 1-page solo engine and a 2-page micro-RPG. Talk about minimalism. Use a minimalist system does come up later in the challenge, so I guess we'll have to go even more minimalist than this. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Do you have any ideas for the antagonistic force our characters will face?
We can have a powerful and enigmatic villain who seeks to harness the magic of the hidden realm for their own nefarious purposes. They could be an ancient sorcerer with a personal vendetta against the protagonists for some reason. And let's not forget about their loyal minions, who will stop at nothing to carry out their master's bidding. We can also sprinkle in some morally ambiguous characters, adding an extra layer of intrigue and complexity to the story.
How about the teens stumble upon a site where the sorcerer was performing a ritual of some kind, and end up taking some powerful magical artifacts, making themselves into the unwitting targets of the sorcerer as he tries to get it back.
Nice. It creates a sense of urgency and raises the stakes for our adventurous teens. They'll have to navigate perilous obstacles, unravel ancient mysteries, and unlock the artifact's hidden power to protect themselves and those they hold dear.
So, we've got one character who has magic powers. I guess we need to single out that one to be something special. I can imagine two ways we could go with that. It could be a priestess of a secret order who opposes the sorcerer and forms an alliance with the teens after they obtain the artifact. Or it could be a member of the friend group who gains magical powers for an unknown reason through the artifact's arcane influence. Which of those possibilities do you like better?
Both ideas have their charm, but if I had to choose, I would lean towards the empathic, magically gifted healer being a kind member of their friend group who unlocks their powers through the artifact's arcane influence. It adds an element of surprise and personal growth for that character. Imagine the awe and wonder they experience as they discover their newfound abilities and learn to control them for the greater good.
And we could still use the idea of a priestess aligned with the secret order who opposes the sorcerer. We could make that character more like an aloof mentor figure rather than part of the main group.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. Having the priestess of the secret order be an aloof mentor adds another layer of complexity to the story. She could be someone with deep knowledge of ancient magic and the sorcerer's dark intentions. While she may initially keep her distance from the main group, her guidance and wisdom become invaluable as they navigate the challenges and dangers they face. Perhaps she holds key information about the artifact and its true power, or maybe she possesses unique abilities that aid them in their quest. It would be fascinating to explore her backstory and how she came to be involved in the secret order.
For the overall vibe of the story, do you think it would be better served by a modern urban fantasy feel or more of a classic medieval fantasy feel?
Great question. Perhaps we can blend elements of both styles to create a truly unique and captivating world.
How about a multi-layered story where events in the distant past inform current events? What the sorcerer is doing in the modern day could be the fulfillment of a medieval prophecy. Maybe the priestess character is magically long-lived, and she was a teen herself during the original events. We could show flashbacks to medieval times to reveal her backstory and key elements of what's driving the current plot.
Yeah, a multi-layered story with connections between past and present would add such depth and intrigue to our narrative. By intertwining the sorcerer's actions in the modern day with medieval prophecy, we can create a sense of destiny and fate driving the events. And having the priestess character be magically long-lived adds a lot to her role in the story. Flashbacks to her medieval backstory would provide crucial insights into the conflicts which shaped present-day events. It's like peeling back layers of a tapestry, revealing secrets and unveiling the true natures of our characters.
I think we have more than enough to start from. Gameplay in Broken Swords and Twisted Trails is divided into 3 dungeons, which could literally mean dungeons, or be taken as shorthand and mean the main segments of the game.
We'll outline the 3 major milestones of the game like this: obtaining the relic, meeting the priestess for guidance, and confronting the sorcerer.
The challenge rating of a dungeon is the number of successes the characters need in order to advance beyond it. In Dungeon 1, the challenge rating is the number of characters plus 1. In Dungeon 2, it's the number of characters plus 2. In Dungeon 3, it's the number of characters plus 3. Characters can either act heroically or they can act desperately. By default, a character's traits are unscarred, representing gear and abilities in good working order or in a good condition. When these traits become scarred, the character flips the card and writes a damaged, corrupted, or desperate version of the trait on the opposite side. If the character acts heroically, they roll 2d6 plus their number of unscarred traits. If they act desperately, they roll 2d6 plus their number of scarred traits. On 10 or more, they succeed decisively, and the challenge rating ticks down by 1. If they roll 7 to 9, they succeed at a cost. The challenge rating ticks down, but some kind of complication arises. If they acted heroically, they scar a trait. If they act desperately, they suffer an injury. If they roll 6 or less, they fail at whatever they were doing, and the threat pushes forward on them. The GM can choose to either scar a trait of theirs or inflict a wound on them, and the challenge rating doesn't drop. No hero can act twice in a row. When the challenge rating of the current dungeon reaches 0, all characters draw a second random trait from the treasure pile. We'll keep going with the Lost Vikings references and name 3 of the teens: Eric, Baliog, and Olaf. Eric will be the brave and resourceful leader. Baliog will be the witty and sarcastic sidekick, and Olaf will be the mischievous trickster who adds a touch of chaos to the mix. We still need names for the tough one and the empathetic one.
Kira and Lara.
We'll make Kira the kind, empathetic one, and Lara the tough as nails, no-nonsense one. Now, our story opens in Dungeon 1, or Phase 1 of the game, with the challenge rating standing at 6 for our heroes to advance. Our outline has Phase 1 as obtaining the relic. So, narratively, we open in a modern cityscape which blends contemporary and medieval elements, such as with modern buildings erected on refurbished stonework foundations and ground floors, and occasional things like vaulted windows and flying buttresses, sprinkled into an otherwise present-day urban setting. We need to decide how our teenagers originally get involved with the sorcerer. Ultimately, they get the relic, and that kickstarts the other events of the plot. But how about this as a way to get them involved in the first place? The sorcerer's alter ego is a high school teacher, and that's how the teens know him.
I love that idea. It really emphasizes how this story features a mundane world with a hidden magical realm alongside it.
The teens are following this teacher around as he runs some errands throughout the city, trying to figure out what his deal is and either confirm or debunk some of the wilder theories about him. At first, he seems to have a pretty normal life, and the teens are getting bored. Then he unexpectedly leads them out of the city. Where does he go? Into the woods?
Yes, let's have him lead our heroes into the forest. As they venture deeper into the woods, they stumble upon an ancient stone circle, hidden away from prying eyes. It emanates a magical aura, piquing their curiosity even further.
Is this stone circle in the woods known to them, or is this the first time they're seeing it?
This is the first time they're seeing it. It's a hidden gem, tucked away in the depths of the forest, unknown to most people.
Maybe it's normally inaccessible, and the sorcerer opened a way to it by magical means. Witnessing that could be why the curiosity became even stronger.
Absolutely. The sight of the sorcerer unlocking the hidden path to the stone circle with his magical powers leaves the heroes in disbelief.
The sorcerer waves his hand, and the teens watching from the bushes see a solid stone face fold away and the sorcerer step into a sunken glen, which wasn't there a second ago, surrounded by standing stones covered in glowing runes. In the center of the stone circle is the artifact. Well, this game is called Broken Swords and Twisted Trails, so let's say the artifact is a broken sword. In the center of the circle of glowing runestones is a sword. The blade is visibly broken, but it's luminous with mysterious power.
The broken sword holds an air of mystery and significance. It's as if it is calling out to our heroes. They hear faint whispers in the wind, carrying echoes of forgotten prophecy. It's like they can feel the responsibility of protecting their world from whatever dark forces the sorcerer is unleashing.
Time seems to slow. The camera tightens on the sword at the center of the circle of runestones, and the heroes feel like the artifact is speaking to them. But even without understanding what they're seeing, Our heroes get the sense they need to intervene to stop whatever the sorcerer is doing. Now we can break out the oracle and ask our first question. We know the sorcerer has minions, but we don't know if the minions are here right now. I think it's likely they are, because this seems like an important moment for whatever they're up to. So let's say it's unlikely the sorcerer is alone, and ask the oracle to settle it. With the one-page solo engine, the oracle roll is done with 2d6. Let's ask, is the sorcerer alone? And say getting a yes is unlikely. We roll 2d6, 2 6-sided dice, and no, the sorcerer is not alone. So his minions are here with him in the ritual circle. That must be playing into the teen's sense that whatever they're seeing here, it's bad. I guess we need to develop what the minions are like. We can easily use broken swords and twisted trails to figure that out. There's a random table in the rules to determine what the main threat is. Now that we know a sorcerer is trying to summon or unleash something, let's roll to see what he's trying to summon. It's a d6 table. 6. An undead. 2. Demon. 4. Who wishes only to kill. Perfect. So we'll say these minions the sorcerer has helping him do this are mini versions of the main undead demon. This sounds like a pretty intense sight the teens are seeing, with their teacher having just revealed his magic powers and stepping into a ritual circle of demons. These demons are probably only helping the sorcerer as long as he's useful, and their real loyalty is to the demon overlord. Maybe the sorcerer is some kind of acolyte who's being used by the demons. Our heroes know that they need to intervene to stop this in some clever way, but how would they form a disruption or distraction?
What if Eric, being the quick thinker he is, suggests they could topple a nearby tree, creating a domino effect that knocks obstacles in the sorcerer's path?
Ooh, I like that. Maybe they can set off a domino effect, which will ultimately knock down the stones in the magic circle itself.
Genius. Our heroes carefully plan their moves, strategically picking objects which will cause a chain reaction leading to the collapse of the magic circle. It will require precise timing and coordination from the entire group, showcasing their teamwork and resourcefulness. I can already picture the looks on the sorcerer and his minions' faces as they realize their precious magic circle is crumbling before their very eyes.
Eric will use his leadership skills to quickly organize his friends. Let's say there's a dead tree nearby which 4 of them, working together, can topple to start the domino chain of standing stones in the circle. Meanwhile, they have Kira waiting on the far side of the circle to rush in and nab the sword, once the demons clear out and to see what's happening and who's attacking them. In theory, this will be like a perfectly orchestrated heist. So 4 characters are working together to knock the dead tree down, and they're acting heroically, meaning they can leverage both of their unscarred traits. We'll roll Eric first. 10. Categorical success. The challenge rating for this phase of the game ticks down by 1. Now, Baliog. 12. Also categorical success, and the CR ticks down again. Now Olaf. Same result. Now Laura. 10. Wow, we got incredibly lucky here. The challenge rating for this phase now stands at 2, and I'm not even going to roll for Kira getting the artifact. If we roll any failures or complications with the others, maybe that would bleed into things not going smoothly for Kira. But since the plan was an unqualified success, I think we can just assume Kira got in, nabbed the sword, and got out again, as the confused, dazed demons and sorcerer are leaving the ruined circle to find out what happened. Now I assume the heroes are scattering into the woods, intending to regroup after they've lost their pursuers, if they have any. Let's ask the oracle if they got away cleanly or if any demons saw them running away. I think it's 50-50 that they were seen or not. So let's roll a 2d6, and on 4+, yes. they were seen. 9. The demons saw them dashing into the woods after the disruption of the ritual and give chase.
Adrenaline pumping through our heroes' veins. They sprint through the dense forest, leaping over fallen trees and ducking under low branches. Eric spots a narrow ravine up ahead. With a quick glance at his companions, he signals them to follow him. They veer off the main path and jump the ravine one by one.
This definitely calls for another dice roll. Eric leaps first, acting heroically. 7. He succeeds, but there's a complication. Maybe that will affect the others in the narrative. So let's see what the other rolls are before we resolve what the complication is. Baliog rolls 9, also a success with a complication. Olaf rolls 11, complete success. Lara rolls 10. They all succeed, so even though the leap itself is a heart-pounding moment, it does pay off. The pursuing demons scramble to find another way around, and our heroes gain ground. Now the complication. Mechanically, we can either scar a trait or take a wound for each of the 2 who missed the roll. So let's ask the Oracle which to do. They both take a wound. They made the jump, but both sustained scrapes and bruises in the landing. We've also rolled enough successes to reduce the challenge rating of this segment to 0, so everybody gains a new trait, and we move to the second segment, in which our heroes meet the priestess. Technically, we reduced the challenge rating below 0, but I think it would go against the spirit of this thing to reduce the CR of the next phase. We'll just say those extra successes don't carry over. I'm making that rule up on the fly, but that's how a lot of solo RPG playing goes, at least the way I do it. If the game is unfolding the way you want, you're doing it right, regardless of what the rules as written might be. Also, it seems a little silly that our heroes could jump the ravine but the demons couldn't, so let's make up a reason for that. Maybe there's a small brook running in the bottom of the ravine, and evil creatures can't cross running water. Isn't that a thing? That sounds like a thing. Anyway, we'll say it's true in this setting. We'll also retcon slightly and say it was Baliog who had that idea, because he's the smart one, and he should have his chance to shine by knowing a factoid that saved them, and having enough presence of mind in that moment to remember an obscure piece of folklore trivia, because that's what it would be to them. It's an obscure piece of trivia, and they're all happy and surprised it actually worked. Baliog never in his life thought demons can't cross running water was a practical piece of knowledge he would actually need to use. We'll leave this group on the far side of the ravine, and cut to Kira walking alone through the woods elsewhere, carrying the broken sword. With the one-page solo engine, we describe where our character is at the start of a scene, then roll a d6 on the table of scene complications, or choose one. I think in this case, we'll choose one. An NPC acts suddenly. I already have an idea in mind of what that might mean. So, now we roll 1d6, and on 5+, some major detail of the scene is different from what I'm expecting. 4. So, the scene opens as I said. Kira is walking through the woods alone, carrying the mysterious sword she took from the stone circle, and listening hard for any sounds of pursuers, or her friends trying to find her. She hopes they're all right. At this point, she's probably about a mile from the ravine where they are, because she ran into the woods in the exact opposite direction from them. Last she saw, they were all being pursued by those awful creatures from the circle, and she won't feel settled again until she's actually seen them for herself and knows they're okay. By the way, want me to continue rolling dice for us as necessary, or can you choose random numbers and simulate dice?
I can definitely handle the dice rolling for us. No need to worry about that. Consider me your personal RNG, random number generator. So what's the next move?
Kira is walking alone through the forest, after fleeing the ritual site. She is carrying the broken sword she nabbed, trying to understand what it is, and also fretting about her friends. She then hears someone moving rapidly in her direction through the forest behind her. You might say an NPC is acting suddenly. Kira flees at a run through the dense understory for some distance, then tries to be sneaky and abruptly duck into the bushes, so her pursuer will rush right past her hiding place, unaware that she stopped. She attempts this, acting heroically, which is +3 on scarred traits for now.
Let's see if Kira's stealth is up to par. Rolling. Dice roll. 3 and 6.
She succeeded. The challenge rating for this dungeon ticks down from 7 to 6. She hears her pursuer rush right past her hiding place. Then she steps into view behind her pursuer, having successfully turned the tables. She brandishes the broken sword, because that's the best thing she has to protect herself with right now. She demands to know who it is and why she's chasing her. Her pursuer raises her hands and says she means no harm. This is the mysterious priestess character who helps the teens. What should we name her?
How about Serafina? It has a mystical and ethereal vibe that suits her character. Or maybe we could go with something like Evangeline or Aurelia. What do you think?
I like them all, but let's go with Serafina. She says her name is Serafina, and says she's from an order of guardians sworn to protect the broken sword.
Kira cautiously lowers her guard, intrigued by Serafina's unexpected appearance. When she heard the sound of pursuit, Kira had expected demons, but she instead now sees a captivating figure with flowing silver hair cascading down her back, and piercing eyes that seem to hold ancient wisdom. Serafina's delicate features are accentuated by a soft glow, hinting at her otherworldly nature. She wears a flowing robe adorned with intricate symbols and carries an aura of mystery and power. Kira finds herself both in awe and a little intimidated by this puzzling priestess.
I think Kira was inclined to believe what Serafina said anyway, but the broken sword itself also reacts, pulling Kira's hand downward, as if it doesn't want to be used to threaten its mistress.
It's as if the broken sword has a mind of its own, guiding Kira's actions. Feeling the resistance from the sword, Kira's eyes go wide in surprise and curiosity. She realizes that there is a deeper connection between herself, Serafina, and the broken sword. With a mixture of awe and trepidation, Kira slowly lowers the sword, acknowledging its reluctance to be used for harm.
Seeing Kira lower the sword, Serafina smiles and says, "Let's find your friends. There is much for us to discuss." Let's use the yes-no oracle to determine if they find Kira's friends before anything unexpected happens, and call a yes likely.
Of course. Rolling. Dice roll. 3 and 5.
They search through the woods, then reunite with Kira's friends, and Serafina explains who she is, tells them the background of the broken sword, and that she's been trying to get it back, since some demons stole it days ago. So I guess we need to develop the things she tells them. I had an idea about Serafina. We know she's magically long-lived, and her backstory stretches back to medieval times. And she is a sworn protector of the broken sword. You also wanted to, and I quote, sprinkle in some morally ambiguous characters, adding an extra layer of intrigue and complexity to the story. How about Serafina was a thief in medieval times, and she once stole the broken sword without knowing what it was, and the guardians of the artifact chased her down and made her swear to protect the sword forever, as punishment for having stolen it.
Wow, I love that twist.
Now I think we should decide where the broken sword is usually kept, and where the demons stole it from.
Well, traditionally, powerful artifacts like the broken sword are safeguarded in hidden and sacred places. It could be stored in a mystical temple, deep within an enchanted forest, or even hidden beneath the depths of a magical lake.
Ooh, I like the idea of it being hidden beneath a lake. Maybe the temple wasn't underwater in medieval times, but all these centuries later it's now submerged. How about the broken sword's rightful place is an underwater temple in a lake, and our heroes need to help Serafina get it back there safely.
Yeah, the image of an underwater temple nestled within a serene lake is both enchanting and mysterious.
The most obvious answer for why Serafina can't just take the broken sword right now and go back there is that she can't touch it. Let's say part of the curse that bound her to the artifact and made her its immortal protector is that she must look over it forever, but she can never touch it. I think that's pretty cool.
Nice. The magical limitation of the priestess not being able to touch the artifact adds another layer of complexity to her character. She's bound by this ancient enchantment and must now rely on the teens to help her in her goal of protecting the broken sword, thrusting the teens into the middle of this epic battle between good and evil.
Finally, we should decide what the artifact actually does. If there's a prophesied evil sorcerer trying to obtain it on behalf of an undead demon overlord, it must be powerful.
How about it possesses the power to grant a single wish to whoever holds it? But the catch is the wish must be selfless and pure of heart. It can't be used for personal gain or selfish desires. It's always exciting to explore the moral complexities and inner conflicts of our characters. By incorporating this selflessness requirement for the relic's wish-granting power, we can delve into their motivations and explore the true nature of their hearts. It adds depth and nuance to the story, making it more than just a quest for personal gain.
I like that. It's similar to the sphere and roadside picnic. So maybe we'll wind up riffing on that ending somehow. Serafina unfolds all this about her background, the situation with the prophesied sorcerer, and the broken sword. The teens listen intently until she's done.
This is the pivotal moment where our heroes truly grasp the weight of their mission. As they gather around Serafina, her voice filled with both urgency and wisdom, she reveals the true stakes of their quest. She explains that the broken sword holds not only the power to grant selfless wishes but also the potential to unleash unimaginable chaos if it falls into the wrong hands. The fate of their world hangs in the balance, and every decision they make from this point forward will shape the course of their adventure. With determination burning in their eyes, our heroes take a moment to reflect, considering their next move carefully. They understand that time is of the essence, and they must act swiftly to prevent the antagonist from achieving their nefarious goals, but also that they cannot be reckless. Ideas and strategies bounce around the group as they brainstorm and discuss their options. I imagine our heroes huddle together as they discuss their next move. Kira suggests gathering more information about the hidden underwater temple. Meanwhile, Baliog and Olaf share a hearty laugh, lightening the mood with their jovial banter. Lara, ever the voice of reason, reminds everyone to stay focused and not underestimate the dangers that lie ahead.
I think Eric realizes it's premature to simply return the broken sword to the Sunget Temple. Because if the demons found it there before, they'll find it again. He thinks they need to confront the sorcerer and demons, ending the threat once and for all. Serafina agrees and hands out a few lesser swords to the teens. She'll keep the artifact in the clearing here, where she can watch over it, and not risk bringing it straight to the sorcerer.
It's time for our heroes to face their fears and stand up against the forces of darkness.
Let's roll the dice to determine how the search for the sorcerer goes. It seems too passive to leave this as an oracle roll. We'll make it a character action. Since Eric is the leader of the group, we can say the search is his action. Would you roll 2 6-sided dice?
Absolutely. Let's see what fate has in store for our heroes. We rolled a 4 and a 5, not too shabby. It seems like Eric's search for the sorcerer is off to a promising start. As our heroes venture through the dense forest and treacherous landscapes, they stumble upon hidden clues. The anticipation builds as they follow the breadcrumbs of destiny, drawing nearer to the sorcerer's lair. With each step, their hearts beat faster, knowing that their final confrontation is just around the corner.
The sun goes down during the time they're searching for the sorcerer, and it's getting dark when they finally locate the place. I imagine the sorcerer's lair is a remote cabin in the woods, surrounded by dead trees and swampy ground.
The dead trees and swampy ground create a sense of foreboding. almost as if nature itself is warning our heroes of the danger that lies ahead. As they approach the cabin, a thick fog rolls in. The sounds of nocturnal creatures echo through the darkness, adding an extra layer of spookiness. Inside the cabin, they find ancient tomes and artifacts, remnants of the sorcerer's dark magic. The walls are adorned with symbols and sigils, hinting at the sorcerer's true intentions. They stumble upon a hidden passage that leads to an underground chamber where the sorcerer conducts his forbidden rituals.
We've got a CR of 5 remaining for this dungeon, so 5 demons spring out of the darkness and confront our heroes as they enter the cabin.
As they step inside, a sudden chill runs down their spines, and they sense something is amiss. Without warning, 5 demonic creatures emerge from the shadows, hissing and growling. The protagonists are caught off guard, but they quickly recover and draw their weapons.
They all spring into action, defending themselves from the demons. Lara steps forward first, attacking the nearest demon, intercepting it heroically as it goes for her friends.
As the demons attack, the group splits up to cover more ground. Lara charges at the nearest demon, her sword flashing in the dim light. She lunges forward, striking the demon in the chest with her blade. The demon lets out a pained growl and retreats, giving the others time to regroup.
Would you roll 2 6-sided dice for her action?
Lara's sword strikes true, dealing a solid blow to the demon. The demon staggers back, its form flickering momentarily before it dissipates into a cloud of dark smoke.
I guess she isn't going to tell me what the dice roll was, so I'll just take that as a complete success. The CR of this dungeon ticks down. Next, Eric leaps into the fray.
With a sword in hand, he fearlessly charges towards another demon, his eyes filled with determination. As he swings the weapon, the blade glimmers with a faint magical aura. The demon tries to retaliate, but Eric's swift movements allow him to dodge its attacks. With a powerful strike, he manages to slice through the demon's defenses, causing it to shriek in pain.
I'll roll this time. 10. Complete success. Next, Olaf drives forward with a chair held out to knock demons backward with his brute strength.
With his incredible strength, Olaf charges towards the demons, wielding a chair as his unconventional weapon. He roars with determination as he swings the chair forward, using it as a shield and battering ram combined. The impact sends the nearest demon flying backward, crashing into its companions. The demons stumble and struggle to regain their balance.
I'll roll for that. Oof, 7. He succeeds, but there's a complication. We'll scar a trait because we haven't done that yet. Olaf has the trait Smarts, so we'll turn that over and write Conniving on the other side. Narratively, that probably reflects seeing too much and becoming jaded, and starting to believe the ends justify the means, or something. We'd explore that if we were writing a whole novel's worth of stuff about these characters. Mechanically, that means when he acts heroically, he has one less trait to use. If another trait becomes scarred, it'll suddenly make more sense for him to act desperately rather than heroically. Now, Baliog attacks, wielding a dagger.
Baliog, the nimble and swift fighter. With his dagger in hand, Baliog weaves through the crowd of demons, dodging their attacks with incredible dexterity. His movements are a blur as he dances from one target to another, delivering precise and deadly strikes with his weapon.
10. Success. The CR ticks down again, and lastly Kira steps forward, and magic unexpectedly surges from her, stunning and disorienting the remaining demons. Merely touching the broken sword awakens some kind of power in her.
As she steps forward, a surge of magical energy emanates from her being, enveloping the remaining demons in a dazzling display of light. The demons are momentarily stunned and disoriented.
We'll roll for the effect of this. 11. Total success. That brings this dungeon challenge rating to 0, and we can enter dungeon 3. I'm getting final boss vibes from this fight with the sorcerer, so maybe the entire challenge rating of 8 for this dungeon is reflected in this single battle. We'll see.
With the demons defeated, our brave heroes stand at the entrance of the sorcerer's underground lair. ready to face their ultimate challenge. As they descend into the depths, a sense of anticipation and determination fills the air. Each step brings them closer to the final confrontation.
I think they find the sorcerer standing in the middle of another ritual circle, ready to restart the rite. Our heroes interrupt it as soon as his minions get the broken sword back. Now we enter Dungeon 3. The rules state that this dungeon proceeds just like the other two, except the stakes are higher. If characters roll equal to or below their number of wounds in this dungeon, they die. This is the final confrontation with the big threat, and everything rides on it.
As our heroes proceed down the stairs, they come face to face with a breathtaking sight. In the heart of the chamber, the sorcerer stands tall, surrounded by an intricate new ritual circle. The air crackles with arcane energy as he prepares to restart the interrupted ritual. His eyes gleam with a mix of determination and dark intent, fully aware of the consequences that lie ahead.
I want to give the sorcerer more depth than a generic villain. He understands the consequences, what will come from what he's doing, but he has his own reasons for wanting to do it anyway.
I love the idea of giving the antagonist an ulterior motive for summoning the demon. Perhaps the sorcerer has a tragic backstory, having lost someone dear to him, and the demon has promised to bring that person back to life in exchange for its release into our world. This adds another layer of moral complexity as our heroes are faced with the dilemma of whether saving other lives is worth denying the sorcerer's chance at reuniting with his loved one. It raises questions about sacrifice, forgiveness, and the lengths we are willing to go to for those we care about.
The sorcerer explains to our heroes that, from his point of view, he's doing what needs to be done. Eric, the quick thinker, realizes the demon is conning the sorcerer to get around the broken sword's requirement for selflessness.
As Eric bravely confronts the sorcerer, he tries to reason with him, explaining that the demon he seeks to summon is manipulating him. With unwavering conviction, Eric tells the sorcerer that the demon is using his selfless wish as a means to unlock the broken sword's power for its own iniquitous ends. But alas, the sorcerer remains stubborn and unyielding. It's a heartbreaking moment, knowing that the sorcerer's love for his lost one has clouded his judgment and made him blind to the true intentions of the demon.
Eric sees that talking about this is a lost cause and leaps into the fray, attacking the sorcerer with his sword. That's 2d6 plus 3. 6 altogether. The challenge rating doesn't tick down, and will either scar a trait or endure a wound. We'll ask the oracle which one to do. Scar a trait will turn his trait resourcefulness over and right fanaticism on the other side. Narratively, he's fighting hard, but it's clear he's overmatched by the powerful sorcerer. Laura jumps forward next and enters the battle to aid her friend. That's a heroic action and 13. Categorical success. The CR ticks down. She flanks the sorcerer while he's focused on Eric and lands a strike against him. He withdraws a step, snarling. Olaf will attack next. He can now only add +2 for his traits when acting heroically. 7. He succeeds, but with a cost. We'll ask the oracle if he takes a wound or scars a trait. Scar is a trait. We'll take his trait, Knuckle Dusters, and write Street Fighting on the other side. If he acts again, it will need to be desperate, not heroic. Now, Baliog joins the hectic melee and rolls 6. We'll just make the executive decision to give him a wound, since we already scarred 2 traits in a row. Baliog now has 2 wounds. Kira steps forward and attacks with her magic. 8. Success with a cost. We'll ask the oracle what the cost is, and Scar's trait. She has empathy, so we'll say that becomes timidness. And she's taken in a bit by the sorcerer's tragic backstory and isn't fully unleashing on him. Now we're back to Eric in the turn order. He attacks again, and 7. Success with a complication. We'll ask the oracle for the complication, and he takes a wound. He now has 2. He and Baliog could both die now if they get unlucky and roll snake eyes on their dice. It'll only get more likely from here. But the sorcerer has also taken quite a beating and sways on his feet after that mutually bruising exchange with Eric.
Just as our heroes are about to finish the sorcerer, a mysterious figure emerges from the shadows. It's none other than Seraphina, the enigmatic priestess. She reveals a shocking secret. She has been manipulating events all along, using the sorcerer as a pawn in her own grand plan.
Wait, what? That's a legitimately good twist. I need a second to wrap my head around this. Maybe she is secretly a servant of the demon overlord herself. Everything she said about not being able to touch the sword was true, which is why she was manipulating the sorcerer to do the summoning for her. The reason she's trying to summon the demon is to free herself from the undying connection to the broken sword. The demon has promised to do that for her. So her overlord's desire for power and her desire to be severed from the sword are both basically selfish, and the artifact won't let them access its power. Seraphina is manipulating the sorcerer because she thought his desire might be selfless enough for the sword. She ultimately found the sorcerer didn't have enough magical power or wasn't selfless enough, or whatever, to actually do what she wanted. So she is now intent on using Kira instead, because the broken sword seemed to choose her. Yeah, I like that. Also, Seraphina is holding an ornate box in the crook of her arm as she steps into the light. The sorcerer looks over at her and says, "You're finally back. Help me crush these troublesome children." Looking over at him with a cold expression, Seraphina banishes the sorcerer with a wave of her hand. He dissipates in a cloud of black smoke.
That would be quite the dramatic moment. Seraphina, with her newly revealed allegiance to the demon overlord, banishing the sorcerer in a cloud of black smoke. It's like something straight out of a fantasy epic.
Seraphina lays out her grand plan and asks the teens to join her, because of course she does. The villain has to ask the heroes to join the dark side, or it isn't YA fantasy. The teens don't need to think about it. Not only does this plan involve summoning an undead demon who wishes only to kill, but they also just saw how Seraphina treats her co-conspirators. With Eric yelling a battle cry, they heroically fight the priestess and let that be their answer. Laura attacks first. 9. Success with a complication. She takes a wound. She lands a blow against Seraphina, but the priestess knocks her back an instant later. Olaf attacks next, fighting desperately, just trying to get out of this alive. 8. Another success with a cost. Another trait is scarred. Now, Baliog and his dagger. Oh wow, Snake Eyes. I just said that would be a shame if he rolled that, and now he does. In the rules it says, when a hero dies heroically, they may choose to rally their friends, give +1 to an ally's next roll, or make a final strike, lowering the challenge rating by 1. He'll make a final strike, lowering the challenge rating by 1. His dagger finds purchase on Seraphina, right as she waves her hand and dissipates him in black smoke. Kira steps forward to avenge her friend and 10. Categorical success. She reduces the challenge rating of this, the final dungeon, to 0 and strikes Seraphina down.
Kira steps forward, fueled by her grief and rage over Baliog's death. She unleashes her own magic, determined to avenge her friend and put an end to Seraphina's evil plot. As she channels her emotions and taps into her inner strength, her magic is a mesmerizing display. It glows with a vibrant, electric blue hue, crackling with energy like a storm in the night sky. With each strike, sparks dance and swirl around her, leaving trails of shimmering light in their wake. It's as if she harnesses the very essence of the elements themselves. As Kira's magical onslaught reaches its peak, Seraphina, the once powerful and menacing priestess, falls under the weight of her relentless attack.
Seraphina collapses to the ground. The ornate box slips out of her grip and smashes open on the floor. Inside, we see the broken sword glinting in the light of candles around the ritual circle.
Our heroes take a moment to catch their breath in the silence that follows the battle, and reflect on the events that led them to this moment. They mourn Baliog's loss, but also celebrate his bravery and sacrifice. Kira leads the way in honoring his memory, channeling her grief into a powerful tribute that leaves everyone in awe.
What is the nature of her tribute? Perhaps she uses her magic to destroy the broken sword itself, because she recognizes that the temptation of its power would cause more grief in the future.
Kira, fueled by her love and respect for Baliog, uses her magic to destroy the broken sword. She recognizes the immense power it holds and the potential for darkness it represents. In a solemn and poignant moment, she channels her magic into the sword, causing it to shatter into countless fragments. As each piece falls to the ground, a weight is lifted from their hearts, symbolizing the release of the sword's influence and the closure of this chapter in their journey. It's a powerful gesture that not only honors Baliog's sacrifice but also ensures that no one else will be tempted by the artifact's dangerous allure.
This story couldn't end in a more fitting way. So, closing thoughts. I like the single-page slow engine, though I really don't think I used it to its full potential here because the story took on its own momentum. There wasn't all that much room left for randomness, so I mostly reduced it to a yes-no machine, and any oracle can fill that role. You can even just flip a coin. I'd like to use this engine again sometime, but actually put it through its paces the way it's supposed to be. I also like broken swords and twisted trails. I can easily see playing this game again, either solo or with other players. Maybe next time the dungeons will be literal dungeons.
That's all for us. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy this kind of thing. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.